Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live. And although the weekend did not go as planned for Arsenal, it does not matter. Spirits are still high. We have not been beaten. It's just a minor blip on the road to success. I'm joined by Steve, Kay, and Jerome Marks. How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Very, very, very good. Yep, good.
And how you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, fine. All fine, thanks.
All right. We've got plenty to discuss tonight. First of all, we've got to be discussing the game on Sunday against Southampton, dropping 2 points. People were upset, but we're going to try and get to the bottom of it. We're also going to be looking at the loan watch. We're also going to be checking out a lot of talk about Ben White's interview. I don't know if anyone's seen Ben White's interviews, the last two, but he's so dry. I don't know whether he does it on purpose, but he just like the interviewer asks a question and Ben White's just like, no, mate, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, he just don't care.
I don't know what. I've seen one of them.
Yeah, because the last one was where the interviewer said, I can't remember. I think there's being bullied. I don't think the interviewer was specifically talking about this game. He was talking about in general. There's talk that Arsenal maybe get bullied. I think Ben White thought he was talking about that game. He was like, "No, mate, don't know what you're talking about. Don't see that." Where's you see that?
But he said something, and he went, well, in this game, in this game, Ben, he went, well, I was in it. I was playing in the game.
Well, I was playing it. I
was playing in it.
And no, I don't see that. Mate, he's straight to the point. You ain't going to get one over Ben White. He does not care. He don't care what he's on. He don't care who he's with or who he's talking to. He's going to give it to you both barrels. All right? Don't mess with Ben White.
Don't mess with him. No.
Don't mess with Ben White. There's a few other things we're going to be discussing as well. But let's get to the first one. Jerome, I know you wasn't here on Sunday. What was your thoughts on the match against Southampton and the 2 drop points?
When the final whistle went, I was super frustrated because the way we played, especially first half, we should have been home and dry at half time. Mm-hmm. We should have been well out of sight. I still, thinking about it now, like a couple of days later, I still think it's 2 points drop rather than a point gained. Just because of the way we played. I know we haven't got the best of records at Southampton, but we haven't played as well as we played in that first half in all those previous games. Just disappointed really, especially because we could have increased the gap over some of the teams that are in and around us. That was my overall thoughts, was frustration, to be honest.
And Steve, I know you spoke on Sunday. The dust has settled now. Any more thoughts on the game?
Yeah, bit of everything really. Bit of disappointment. Again, like Jerome said, we didn't play bad the first half. I can't get over the referee. Normally you after a game, after the dust has settled, the famous phrases, isn't it? And we come on a Tuesday with a more balanced and calmer view of the match, but I'm still as fuming. As far as that referee went, I just cannot get over the standard of refereeing this season, and we have actually got VAR as well. So I actually include the people involved. That wasn't given a. I mean, I don't know if it's something we're going to talk about later, so I won't go too much into it if we are. But it was ridiculous. This ain't the West Ham show, but again, last night, I mean, how that was given a goal, it was just absolutely beyond me. But Arsenal disappointing. Game of 2 halves, as the cliche goes, is something it certainly was. Again, I'll probably go into a bit later on. the way the game panned out and how I feel we dropped off and the reason why we lost the game or things that we need to do in the future. But yeah, I can't get past that referee. He was awful, wasn't he?
Let's focus on the referee for now, because again, like you said, we don't want to. When you bring up the referee, it's very hard not to sound like sour grapes or you're making excuses. But there were a few standout moments in that game. Jerome, I'll go to you first because I think Steve knows what I'm going to talk about. Bukayo Saka's yellow card. Was you surprised that the referee pulled out a yellow card at that point?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was watching, to be honest. I'd love to really say what's on my mind with referees, but it might be
do it. Go on, come on.
It might be a bit too harsh, but
nah,
it's just ridiculous, isn't it? Some of these decisions. I mean, there's so they don't understand the game. They're probably you're biased. You don't book a player for that sort of incident unless I think you got either something wrong with you or you're biased. So you're either incompetent or you're biased, because otherwise you don't make that decision. It's impossible.
Incompetent.
Yeah, either one. Either one. They're both wrong. And the fact that we have got VAR makes it even worse as well. I know VAR doesn't really get involved in decisions like that, but if you are going to use video assistant referees to help you in football matches, then either you're trying to get the right decisions or you're not. And I didn't hear him talk about it on Sky Sports News, but normally they wheel out Dermot Gallagher to give his opinion on decisions. I don't know if they spoke about that one or not. Kieran,
he's bloody useless. I'm trying to be nice, yeah. I can't hold it in.
No.
He's useless. There is no point in them going to him, because he says everything you know he's going to say. He backs the referee. Oh, yeah. So when you look at it, there's the rules. And to be fair, the referee's got it right here. And then when it's wrong or completely wrong, I'm not sure why. But it's pointless. It's pointless having Dermot Gallagher say.
When he speaks about decisions, there'll be a decision. He'll spend 1 minute talking about it, and he'll bring up things and ideas and thoughts that either don't make sense, that no one's ever thought of. Like he just talks nonsense for a minute on a decision. It's embarrassing, really, to listen to it.
It is embarrassing.
If he's the voice of reason when it comes to referees and decisions, then no wonder every week there's controversy.
But like, look, Dermot Gallagher, whatever his name is, he was regarded as one of the best referees in his time in the Premier League, yeah. And this is what he thinks. That says it all you need to know. There's so many things wrong with referees, and like why I feel like the referees game, yeah, should be sold as such an opportunity for someone to have a glittering career. They'd be traveling the world, potentially match referee at a World Cup, great money, watch football on a weekly basis, be involved in football. This should be pushed out like any other great job out there. Why is, I think it's like 70% of the referees, 80% of the referees, all from the same area up north. Yeah. Why is
good
that?
point. Good point.
Why
it's great that.
Why are they not looking into pushing referee development down south as well, and in the Midlands? Why is that not the case? Because I can tell you why referees don't come from the south, because they get beaten up. So you need to protect them, and you need to make sure, that there's incentives in doing this job, because they need to bring up the referees so much more. They need to make sure that you've got the best players in the world, and they're driving a bloody Skoda. It's absolute garbage. It's absolute nonsense, and they need to sort it out.
My question would be, sorry, Jerome. My question would be, why don't we get people in who's played the effing game before, because we watch the games week in, week out, right? We've all played the game, yeah. The pundits have played the game. Hey, look, the co-commentators, the pundits, they can't work it out either. The actual players, the actual people who have played for years, they're saying, well, that's this and that's that. But then you go to the people, the referees, and they're giving these decisions. How are they coming to these decisions? The one with Jesus, he's literally wrapped his hands around him with his hands like this, with Jesus in the middle there. How is that not a free kick and a penalty and a sending off? Please explain to me. Please, I'm like, it's nothing to do. We drew 1-1. I'd be like this if we won a game, right? But this is getting a joke. And who have we got upstairs? Mike fucking Dean.
Yeah, I know. The worst
totally clueless.
Honestly, the worst person to have upstairs is Mike Dean, because his ego is so big.
They can't have kicked. They cannot have kicked a football in their whole lives. They can't have, Kieran. They can't have. We've played at decent levels. They cannot have kicked a ball. They can't, because they're ruining the game. They're ruining the game. They've got VAR upstairs. This is the first referee. It's impossible for referees to get things wrong these days. They've got VAR to sort of help them out. So if someone, how does the linesman not see it? I just can't get people.
Out of all those incidents, which there's a lot to choose from, what one would you say is the worst one? What is the worst mistake that he made, do you reckon, during that game?
I think it had to be the Jesus one, the one what I was just speaking about. I mean, there were so many. There was the Ben White one. I mean, that was bad enough. I mean, that was ridiculous. But it's not even looked at. It's not even. Didn't even go to VAR. Yeah, fair enough. It went with us the week before. Fair enough. But if we're going to lose the league or lose the Champions League or finish 5th because we're 1 point short, then there's that dopey fat git sitting in Cheshire, right, eating his whatever they eat up there, right? Oh, it's so annoying. And the thing, and why it's so annoying, boys, is that it's so easily sorted out.
Yeah,
and they won't.
It is. I think there's a certain element. Bert seems to think that we could blame Arsene Wenger. I didn't see it, referees. So he's saying it's the past. But yeah, I think, because I've noticed lately that a few referees are letting the game play. So they're letting it play, and they've been congratulated about letting the game play, having that bit of physical nature about a game as well, but still keeping things safe for the footballers. I personally think the referee was trying to let the game play, and he's messed up massively, because not only is he's gone in with a mindset that, okay, this game's going to be a bit like a proper man's game, and like there's 2 instances there where Gabriel Jesus was manhandled, but I don't know who that wrestler was. But he was manhandling him, threw him to the floor, and then nothing. And I was like, that's a bit of a weird one. And then Bukayo Saka's one, which actually it has to be Saka's yellow card has to be the strangest decision of the game for me. Like if you're not 100% sure that the player has dived, then you can't give him a yellow card, and you can't. And he didn't dive.
Can't make a decision. Yeah.
His foot came out, and Saka tripped up. Like, come on, man. Poor.
I think when referees book players for diving, I think the referees think that they're being very clever. I've caught you out. Like,
yeah,
they've got. Do you know what I mean? They feel like not they're winning, but they've
I'll go back to the one last night. Did you see the West Ham Bournemouth game last night? Did any of you watch it?
No.
I mean, the geezers. That was what he was doing when it was given not handball. The ball was sort of hitting up there.
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah,
Have you ever jumped up for an header like that? Gone up like that for an header?
Yeah,
He's like volleyballed it on to the net. Now, what the excuse there was that the fact that first push out from that player never went to the other player to score a goal. And I've never heard something so ridiculous all my life. So
No,
what?
wait,
Can
wait,
someone?
wait.
If someone's in the area,
That goal counts.
oh, next time I'm playing football, I'm going to give it some of that. Pass it to a
That
geezer
goal
who's
counts.
over there, and then he can knock it on
Yeah,
with his
it
head
counted.
and score.
No, it didn't.
And that's not a goal.
No, it didn't. That goal didn't count. That was disallowed, weren't it? Shut up. That goal counted.
What?
I saw that, and that was disallowed, weren't it? Wasn't that disallowed? Well, the bounce of his hand.
That was
West
given
Ham
a goal.
Yeah,
Shut
they gave
up.
a goal. Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
I thought they disallowed it.
No,
They did.
No.
Zuma. Oh
no,
my
it was a
God.
goal.
Oh my
It was a
God.
goal. The geezer
my
jumped
God.
up like this for an header, and he's pushed it out with his hands to another player who's knocked it on to Zuma, who scored. But because
know.
that first punch never went to Zuma, and it went to him the next bit,
That's a joke. That's a joke. That's
Gary
a joke.
O'Neill was doing his nuts
No,
afterwards.
the reason why they can say accidental or whatever, yeah, the reason why that should not count as a goal because the ball has hit the arm or the hands and it's gone in a completely different way to what it would if it was to hit his leg. You gain advantage from it hitting your hand. Therefore, that's a handball. Like accidental or not, that shouldn't come into play. If you gain advantage from it hitting somewhere where it shouldn't have, then it's a handball. Like you can't do that. Like that's a bit of a joke. That's a bit.
So I mean, but it's not in a natural position, is it? You don't jump up for an header like this.
I don't know. I'm baffled. I'm honestly baffled. But Arsene Wenger said years ago there'd be no English refs refereeing at the World Cup, and I think we had that in the last World Cup or Euros. I'm not sure if there's going to be any representatives in this one because they've been horrible. What's he saying? Two things. Upholding rules is not a priority. VAR is handled by same refs on the field. They don't have access to the rules. Yeah, 100%. I agree. You've got the refs downstairs that then have a day off and go up and do VAR. So they're going to make the same mistakes they're making on the field. So, yeah.
I mean, how is the headbutt with Eddie not sending off? Can we go and headbutt people now as well? Then is that all right? And get yellow for it?
I don't. It's crazy. It's crazy. What that one there? Yeah, for me, I was screaming at the TV. That's got to be a red because if he was to go for a punch and missed him, he'd get a red.
Like that. He went like that in his back.
Got up and went. And if he would have caught him with that headbutt, it'd have broken his head off his neck. Like it was a vicious headbutt. But and he looked around and he was like, "Oh no!" He knew he was in trouble, but the ref didn't do nothing. He gave me yellow cards in the end, like because he went for the headbutt. That's it. He went for the headbutt, missed him, and then grabbed his neck. Like, come on, if that's not two bookable offences, what did they do with Gabriel Martinelli last season against Wolves? First bookable offence for the throw, second bookable offence for the foul. Well, then that's two bookable offences. You went for a headbutt, you missed it, and then you grabbed his throat. That's the second yellow card. Like you've got to start sticking to the rules. Over here in the US, commentators ignored the fact that Jesus got punched at twice, but clearly saw Saka's yellow. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. There's a bit of an agenda over there in America for Arsenal. I watch ESPN FC, and they don't like Arsenal. They like the fact that they like digging out Arsenal because it gets views. West Ham were playing volleyball, which was accidental calls.
That was the exact word I used. Volleyball. It was the exact word I used after the game.
When I saw it, I just assumed that goal got disallowed. So, like, I can't believe that they gave that goal. One thing that has been going around a lot is Gabriel Jesus. He's hit a bit of a bad form. Is there a worry, Steve? Is there a worry about Gabriel Jesus' form at the moment? He's scored in 5 games.
No, I think it's a lot of fuss about nothing. I think he's I mean he's scored what one in five now, and now every time you turn on any type of sports football channel or Sky Sports or something, someone's saying something about Gabriel Jesus. Can he do it? Will he be able to fire Arsenal to the the Champions League and all this stuff? I mean, come on. I mean, look, he isn't playing bad. For me, he's had one bad game, which I thought he was non-existent in. But apart from that, for me, he's been doing well. He's still getting in, in the right areas to, get the chances. A couple of times he should have scored. A few times the keepers, made good saves, or the ball's bounced a little bit awkwardly than it should have. So, no, I mean, I ain't really worried, kids. I mean, again, when Kane went the whole of August, no one was saying nothing. It was like, he score. Salah this season, he was on a terrible run. The greatest player on the planet, Heung-min Son, right, who hasn't done shit all season, right? It's like no one says a word. It's the great Son, the great Son, the Emperor Son. So no, I'm not worried, mate. I think it'll come. Empress was good on that, but right.
Just for the record, Gabriel Jesus has scored 5 Premier League goals in 11 games. That's just off 1 in 2, and he's also got 4 assists. So 9 goal contributions in 11 games. I think, although he hasn't scored in his last 5. 2 of them. Substitute appearances, and he got an assist in one of them substitute appearances.
Yeah, he might have the World Cup on his mind a little bit as well, maybe.
We'll get to that. Jerome, do you think people are being a bit too harsh on Gabriel Jesus at the moment?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're just trying to find reasons to have a go at us. Look, the last couple of he missed a couple of chances against Southampton, but every striker misses chances. That's just the nature of football. And he's not like a prolific, natural goal scorer, but he gives us so much. And also all those games that we've mentioned, I think we've won 4 and drawn 1. So it's not as if he hasn't contributed at all. He's so important to how we play. Like when you compare him to what we had last season, I mean, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it? And every striker goes through those patches. It's just what happens. Every striker, maybe apart from Haaland, will have
he has one game off.
Yeah, a streak of games where they don't score. But no, I don't think it's anything to worry about at all. I'm not worried about that.
I'll tell you what as well. I think maybe it's we are a team where we get goals all over the pitch. Saka scores quite a lot of goals. Martinelli scores a lot of goals. We pick for Xhaka's scoring a goal every other week, it seems, recently. And Odegaard gets goals. We get goals everywhere. So I don't think he's going to have. I think periods of a season where a few games he won't score. So it could be that as well. A little bit of that.
Yeah, no, he definitely. But I see it as I feel like he's putting a bit too much pressure on himself. I don't know whether you remember the game against. Did he score against Liverpool? What's the game? Was it against Tottenham? Where he scored, but he could have scored 2 more. And Mikel Arteta pointed out afterwards and said, Gabby's a bit frustrated. And Gabby, he came off the pitch and he looked really annoyed. He looked like Tottenham. He was like, is it Tottenham?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like since then he's got in his own head where he's just sort of thinking too much. Like he's overthought the fact that he didn't score them 2 goals. Since then, when he misses the next chance, it's built up again. It's again and again and again. And going off what you were saying earlier, got a couple of notes on it. Do you think the World Cup's been playing on his mind, Stephen? Do you think it could potentially impact his place in the team if he's with the form that he's on?
Yeah, because believe it or not, I mean, he's place in the World Cup is not nailed on. To be truthful at the moment, I mean they've got like a plethora of incredible strikers Brazil have, and there has been a couple of occasions where he has been, left out. I mean, some people are saying that he's guaranteed to be on the plane anyway, and they're just looking at other people in case one of them goes down with an injury. But it could be playing.
You never know with that one. You never know with that one. I mean, many a time we thought that a player's going to go to the World Cup and another player's hit a bit of good form, and just at the time when a player's hit bad form, and the player don't go, and it's a shock, and you're like, why? How have they not been picked to the team? So I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one. He didn't get picked for the last one, so we'll see.
Exactly. That might be it. He might be thinking that it's on his mind. He's trying too hard. You can try too hard, and when you do that, and you just don't go out there and play your own game, these type of things happen. You go on a little spree where you just nothing's going right for you.
Yeah, definitely. Jerome, do you think he's playing on his mind potentially the World Cup? What do you think it is that's getting to him at the moment? Why he's not scoring the goals?
I just think it's a bit of bad finishing and a bit of bad luck. I wouldn't sort of read too much into it. The World Cup probably is on his mind. It's probably on every player's mind that's going to go to the World Cup, because it's only a few weeks away.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's playing a part of it, but I don't think that is affecting, for example, the chance he had on Sunday when he was sort of clean through on goal, and I think the defender came in and blocked it in the second half. I don't think that's got anything to do with the World Cup. He'll be back. He'll probably score a hat-trick at the weekend, and then all of this will be sort of redundant. But yeah, that would be ideal.
Yeah, Jesus' shooting form has dipped, and it's not a surprise. But Jesus contributed in many ways, which contributed to other scoring opportunities. Now, 100% agree. And just as I was saying before, people are not taken into account, and they do this on purpose. Look, Arsenal is clickbait. It's literally the name Arsenal is clickbait. It don't matter. They will put Arsenal on anything if they think it's going to get some views. And by saying that Gabriel Jesus has not scored in 5 games, it makes it sound like he's been bad, and he hasn't. He's been far from it. In fact, he's got 2 assists in those games he hasn't scored either. So, and like I said before, 2 of those games were substitute appearances. So it's not really fair to point out the fact that he hasn't scored in 5 games, and it's a big thing, because like with Steve and Jerome have both said, I don't think it's that deep.
No,
it's a minor blip. I do think he's snatching at chances a little bit. He's where he may have dinked it early in the season. He's just trying to maybe hit it with some power and get it on target. But once one of those comes off, once he puts one in the bag, I really, really do not worry about Jesus' form this season. He's been.
Do you think he go and ask Granit Xhaka for some shooting practice at all?
Well, seems to be that the midfielders are doing the job at the moment.
Yeah.
So we will see. It'd be interesting. Another point off of not just last week's game or this week's game against Southampton, but also last week's game against Leeds, is the second half and the tail off that Arsenal have been having. I think there's like 13 shots in the first half in the last game against Southampton, yet there was 0 shots on target in the second half against Southampton. And Leeds, I think something like 15 shots in the first half and 6 in the second, and not all of them on target as well. Do you feel like Arsenal could be going through a bit of fatigue? Do you think this is just part of the development? Do you think what do you think the situation is at the moment, Steve?
I don't think they're tired. I don't like the word tired when I'm sort of referencing young professional footballers. They shouldn't get tired. But one thing that it could be, I think sometimes you can go into games or you can start second half with just the wrong mentality of just when you go into the game. And I think Arsenal could be found a little bit guilty in that aspect against Leeds. and against Southampton, just due to mainly first half performances and then second half performances, just sort of feeling like the game's won and we're going to go and win the game. Oh, I know we won the Leeds game anyway, but it was tight and was close and probably lucky to come away with anything at the end of the day. But we seem to lack that little bit of mentality. And I mean, I've got like one of the reasons that I've sort of that come to me mind today. I mean, there was a massive drop of form from Saka and Partey on the weekend now, where they went from absolutely outstanding, a 10 out of 10 world class, to really just non-existent. Now I'm wondering that, considering that we're looking at two players we're looking at a midfield player to come in still, where Arteta was looking at. And we're still looking for that right-sided midfield player. And maybe these are two players that need rests, or more importantly, they need some competition in especially in those areas. And sometimes, as great as what Partey and Saka are, maybe they come a little bit complacent to think that I'm going to be picked every week, I'm going to play every week. So maybe that plays with their mentality a bit. I know we've got Lokonga to come in if maybe Partey's not doing it, for instance. I mean, the Xhaka, we've got no worries at the moment. He's on the team sheet, he starts. But is the Lokonga ever going to start? If Partey has a bad game, not really. Saka's starting every week. So I don't. It's just an option. It's just the thing that it could be playing into their minds a little bit.
I think that's part of the problem, is the fact that, for instance, there's no alternative to Xhaka. Now, whether he's playing on tip-top form this season, there's no one in there that can rotate with him. So we're having to play Europa League games with Xhaka in the centre, and then we bring in the Conga, and then we have to play the league game with Xhaka in the centre with Partey. There's only so much Xhaka can do of doing that, and there's only so much that we can do with to be fair, it's hard to replace Partey when he's on form. Like, so with Saka, he's just not coming out of the team because Marquinhos he's not close to Saka. And then with the likes of Martinelli and Wissam being injured, and Reece Nelson's not even a stitch on Martinelli. So there's so many positions where we could do with, as you said, serious competition. Because like it's what will take us to the next level as well.
Do you think they get complacent, Kears? Do you think that's a word that's a fair word? That Partey and Saka could they get complacent in their positions? That I'm starting and that's that? Because no matter how good they are, you want players to be on it every week, don't you?
Yeah, but I don't see complacency. I don't think that Mikel Arteta allows complacency, and I feel like there may be moments in the team where like focus maybe dipped a little bit, but for complacency, I don't see it because like they're so well drilled mentally as well. This team, it's not like the team of old. This team is, I just don't see it. Yeah. I can't put my finger on it. But Saka did come out in the second half, and Partey was not good in the second half. Jerome?
Yeah, I'll just add. I think that we always mention it when we have a chat on this show, but I'll talk about the wingers, Saka and Martinelli. To expect them to be consistently great for 90 minutes, I think is a very big ask.
And wait, sorry, Martinelli's form as well. Carry on.
Yeah, I just think our expectations are very, very high, and we're expecting these players to put in 10 out of 10 performances every game for 90 minutes. And especially when you play away from home, the home side's going to have a period in the game where they're on top a bit. They put you under a bit of pressure, perhaps. Like that's just how football works, unfortunately, or fortunately. And so I think with Saka and Martinelli, I think their consistency and their ability to to play for longer periods in the game at a very high level. I think that will improve with age because technically and quality-wise, they're there. Partey, again, he's the same. Technically and quality-wise, he's there. It might just, I don't know what it is with Partey. It's nothing to do with his ability because we know he's got ability. I just think there are periods in games when, they're humans, aren't they? They drop off. They're a bit sloppy, perhaps. Something doesn't go their way. A foul might not get called in their favour, and that might affect them in the head. But let's face it. Even though we haven't played fantastic, even though we've had periods in the last couple of games where we haven't really played our best, we still have had periods, very big periods in those games where we've been a lot better than where we were last season. Like if you think back to 2 months ago, we weren't putting in that first half performance against Southampton earlier on last season. It wouldn't happen. Like we've come such a long way, and our expectations have changed so quickly, haven't they?
No, I agree. I agree. And I think that's one thing that we also have to remember as well, like the progression, and I think sometimes we get lost in the way that we're playing. We're playing so good, it feels like, okay, we're here, but we're forgetting last year's progression was like to see some consistency along the way all through the first half of the season. Yeah. This year's progression is playing at a higher level, but there's going to be peaks and troughs. There's going to be situations where we're learning now. This team needs another player. This team needs here. This team needs there. And then next season, hopefully, this form will be up here for longer periods of time.
Yeah,
and I think that will be a part. And it's just a part of our steady progression. It's part of the development, and it's part of the reason why I'm saying, don't get lost in this. We're going for the league. We're trying to win the league. Don't get lost in that, because you will be upset when we don't win the league. You'll be upset if we end up coming somewhere like third, and you'll completely forget that this has been progression on last year as well. Like the fact that we're even having this conversation right now is crazy compared to last year and the year before. And if you kept an eye on it, you've seen the progression. You've seen it. So no, I agree with what you're saying there as well, Jerome.
I think if you're Mikel Arteta, the ideal scenario is to have competition in every area, isn't it? To be able to replace a player or to make that player on the pitch be worried about their place.
Yeah,
I'm sure if we're all in Mikel Arteta's shoes at this moment in time, that's their train of thought. I want someone to give Saka that pressure, no matter how well he's playing. I still want someone of quality behind him to make him, if he's playing 90% out of 100, to make him play 95 to make him 100, knowing that there's this guy behind him ready to come in if he gets injured and he comes in and he stays in. So that's the ideal progression. And as you said, I think it's great that now we're talking about this now, and we're not worried about the team anymore. The focus on our conversation is how can we improve literally our bench. I mean, Martinelli, we got Emil Smith-Rowe. He's injured, but when he comes back, there's a good replacement there. We just need certain areas where you just want to give other players on their day, Partey and Xhaka, world class. But whether they're world class or not, at the moment, I just feel the players who are behind them, right, or Xhaka or Partey, as a pair, the player behind them,
too much of a gap.
There's too much of a gap. Yeah. And the same with the Saka. There's too much of a gap. And they're only human beings. So they might be sitting at home thinking, I'm playing next week. You don't want that. No matter what, no matter who, and they're great and how much we love Partey and Xhaka, that's what Partey, Xhaka and Saka, we don't want them to have that train of thought.
No, and for three players that won't have that train of thought is Kieran Tierney, Tomiyasu, and Zinchenko.
Exactly, yeah.
So we'll touch on that one a little bit. Kieran Tierney maybe has an argument to feel a little bit hard done by. Missed out, although he did get game time against PSV, he did miss out on what he'd probably see as a more important game in the Southampton match on the Sunday. Do you think it's about time that Kieran Tierney comes back into the team, Jerome?
Yeah, I think maybe in Arteta's defence, not that he needs me to defend him, but maybe he might have felt that obviously set pieces were going to be a big factor, especially with James Ward-Prowse. His deliveries are amazing, and maybe he thought that having Tomiyasu would have been a benefit. Also, Tierney played in on Thursday, and with his injury record, to play him on a Thursday and then on a Sunday, I don't think that's probably the best idea. But yeah, maybe looking, it's always hard. It's easy to look back and say you should have done this, but yeah, because they score a set piece and Tierney's on the pitch, we're all saying why hasn't Tomiyasu started instead of him for his height? So it's close, isn't it?
So the thing is, it feels like he made his decision on the Thursday because Tomiyasu played as well, but came off 20 minutes before the end, whilst Kieran Tierney played the full game. Would you have done the opposite? Who would you have played?
It's such a close call. It's a toss of a coin for me, to be honest. Out of them two,
all right.
I do think that their set pieces, they had a lot. There was one period in the game where they might have had about 6 corners in a row.
Yeah, they did.
And,
they did.
So it's a toss of a coin for me.
Steve, that time Kieran Tierney comes back in. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I was when listening to the boy you two there and talking about that Tomiyasu come off 20 minutes from the end and Tierney stayed on. I suppose we should have read into that the fact that Tomiyasu was going to start the weekend from that substitute decision by Arteta. But as far as Kieran Tierney, I was quite surprised. I would have been, apart from that situation on Thursday, I would have started Kieran Tierney. I totally hear what Jerome says about his injury record, and it's a very good point. But for me, Kieran Tierney's a recognised left back, and Tomiyasu isn't. What I feel Tomiyasu's good at when he plays at left back is when he does a man marking job. When you're doing a man marking job, you don't need to go forward, because if you're marking someone like a Salah or a Kane or wherever you're doing a man marking job, you're marking someone of quality. So all you're doing is defending. So in that respect, you don't have to use Kieran Tierney as one of his assets, which is getting forward a lot. Yeah. So if you're going to come to the fact who's the best defender, then you're probably going to do Tomiyasu. Yeah. But as far as a recognised left back and doing the job, if you're marking it out of 100, I think, especially on the left-hand side, you're giving, for me, it's 85%, Kieran Tierney out of 100 and Tomiyasu probably 70%. So for me, Kieran Tierney should start unless there's a man marking job needs to be had, and then I'd bring Tomiyasu in. But look, Kieran Tierney is the perfect example of what we was talking about 5 minutes ago about Partey and Xhaka and competition. You brought the three up there, and Kieran Tierney is certainly one of these players who has thought, well, I've got these two guys here, I need to up my game and show that I'm the number one left back for Arsenal, and Zinchenko and Tomiyasu because he'd gone down the pecking order a little bit, I thought.
Yeah,
it seemed to me, but to give Kieran Tierney his dues, he's been excellent. Every time he's come off the bench or he's played in Europe, he's been a 7 or an 8 out of 10, and we've been calling out for him to start. So for me, again, I'd start him against. PSV. Yeah, play Tomiyasu left back
on Thursday, and then you've got Nottingham Forest on the Sunday. Yeah,
play Tomiyasu on against PSV, and then let's get Kieran Tierney at home. With a crowd behind him against Forest on Sunday. Yeah, he deserves his chance, mate. I think he's proved his point now. As I say, he's been sitting on the bench and he hasn't moaned, he hasn't groaned, he's just got on with his stuff.
He done an interview as well, didn't he? Which was really good interview for Sky Sports. So no, I agree. I agree. I think he has. He can't help but love Kieran Tierney. He's a model professional. He comes on, he does his job, and he puts in 100% every time. And to his credit, whenever there's a challenge in front of him, he tries his utmost to up his game and get his spot back, which is what he said when he first came to Arsenal, when he was at Celtic. He was ousted after having an injury, came back in, and someone had taken his spot, and he was like, "Nah, mate, that's my spot." And he got his spot back, and he didn't lose it afterwards. Now, to his detriment, sometimes I think he holds on to that too much and isn't honest with his injuries, which means when he does finally break down from an injury, it's even longer than needed because he's been playing on an injury. But no, commitment, dedication, passion.
All that.
Kieran Tierney has it in abundance. So time to get him back in. And look, when he came against Southampton, he made a difference. When he came in the other game, it weren't Leeds, but it was the one before that. I think it was. He came on and he made a big difference as well. And I think both games before that, when he comes as a sub, he hit the post and got an assist as well. So bring Kieran Tierney back in. It's about time. Let's quickly go for a couple of these. I feel Arsenal are tired, not physically, but mentally too. The dips in form after we take the lead. We saw last season without Europe winning 14 of 16 for a young team in the Premier League. Mentality is draining. No, I agree. I do think it's probably a bit of both. Probably more. It's tough. It's going to be tough for these players. They're trying to keep a lead at the top of the table, somewhere where they've not held before. And last season, they were accused of bottling fourth spot. So the pressure to hold down the top spot with Man City and Erling Haaland breathing down their neck is a lot. In the past seasons, I believe we needed 3 goals to get a result. And this, it seems like 2, as we are vulnerable for the goals against. No, we are. But I think it could be a case of a bit like Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. Too salty, too sweet, just right. Last season it was too salty. This season going forward too much. It's too sweet. Next season, hopefully it'll be just right. Our current fullback situation allows us to cover fullbacks at every match with players who push each other. It's needed behind Jesus, Partey, Xhaka. We've got it with Odegaard and Vieira. He seems like a good player to come in, but he's got no competition for Saka. Smith Rowe's out injured. No competition for Partey, and there is competition for Partey, but the drop off is quite a bit. Lokonga's still got a lot to learn, and there's no competition for Xhaka, so he needs a rest. He can't play every game. Would you play Zinchenko in midfield as the cover for instead of Lokonga? Yeah, I would, but the danger you've got with that is we've not got a backup. It's not really a danger because you think about it. You've got Tomiyasu who can play left back. You've got Ben White who can play right back. But you're just starting to thin down the squad that little bit extra. I'd like to see Zinchenko play as a central midfielder. I think long term he may even be that position. But
he wants to play there, doesn't he?
We're dicing with death when we're just slowly rotating our defenders round into midfielders and playing all our defenders at once. It's just buy a player. Just buy a player. Come on. White at right back means with light at centre back. It's kind of. It doesn't. Rob Holding's there. Tomiyasu's there. Again, we're in the same situation. Our defence, I think, is very tight. But we've got solid players. We've got cover for every position at fullback. Centre back, we've got 3, but then again, one of our right backs can play centre back. One of our left backs can play centre back. So, are we sure? Again, it could be a problem later down the line. But who do you bring in as the centre back to be the 4th choice centre back? Who's coming in at Arsenal as 4th choice centre back, and he's going to be happy to sit behind Rob Holding?
You have to win the league first before you can get someone like of that ilk.
Yeah, there we go. I just don't see it. Arteta took Liverpool result with Tomiyasu got carried away with it in the PSV and Southampton matches. He looked out of place in that role, less defensive, more offensive. I think that Tomiyasu just didn't have a good game against Southampton. And I don't think he had a good game against Leeds. So that's why it's a little bit surprising that he did come in and play that game. All right. That's always time for on that one. Jerome, did you have a little look at some of the players on loan?
Yes.
I think...
glad you said yes.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
One of the main ones, who not only has a song, but they're trying to keep him long term. Charlie Patino. He's looking good at Blackpool.
Yeah, definitely. They had their derby at the weekend, Blackpool Preston. That's like a very big game up there. And I'm sure you've all seen his goal. He scored a quality goal. Struck it nice and clean into the bottom left-hand corner and got an assist as well. And yeah, didn't get a hat trick, but I guess you can call his new song a hat trick. They love him, don't they?
Yeah, they absolutely love him down there.
They love him. He's I think it's so good that he's there and just keep him playing there. But I saw some of the highlights of his game, and he was giving the ball away a bit and trying things. But this is his first year of men's football, so what do you expect?
Yeah,
but
and I'm guessing the coach has said, "Don't hold back, try, just play your game." Because that's what he needs to do. He needs to go into that league and not be afraid to make a mistake, not be worried about giving the ball away, because that's just going to be part of the game. And in the Championship, you get away with a little bit more.
Yeah.
The
Blackpool play the way we play, similar. Because I know Arteta had that thing, didn't we? Spoke. I think kids. I think we should have brought it up.
Yeah, I don't think
when you said it's a good idea.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I think he would only send him to Blackpool if the manager was allowing him to be a bit more expansive with his play.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The fans know what they're watching, don't they? And when they give you like your own song, you've made it. Who else did we see? Balogun scored again in France. He's definitely putting that. He's coming up with a lot of goals at the moment. Balogun. His overall game maybe isn't the best, but he's scoring goals, and for confidence, then that's what you want, isn't it? You want him to score goals. You don't want him to come away this season and have just scored 4 or 5 goals. He'll definitely hit double figures shortly, and he'll be sort of near the top of the goal scoring charts.
Exactly, so, and I mean when your name's there next to Mbappe, Neymar, I mean you can't really complain. He scored 7 goals in 12 games so far this season, and 2 assists again, like Gabriel Jesus. 9 goal contributions in 12 games, which for a player of his age, out on loan for his first full season, that's good stats. Good stats.
Yeah. Also, their starting games, Balogun and Patino. The other player, Marcelo Flores, the Mexican, he's not really starting as many games. He came on the sub at the weekend for Oviedo in the 2nd division in Spain, and he's just not getting as many minutes really as the others.
It looks like he might come home in the end.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a shame, because when you've got players out on loan, you want them to play, don't you?
But I think that's part of the reason why I think Flores has been, his dad's on it, very much on the case. Marcelo Flores is on the case, and he's been speaking with Arteta, and Arteta has made it clear that if he's not going to get game time, he's going to come home, and they're to play him in the under-21s and then give him game time on loan maybe in January. But there's no point in him sitting on the bench at another club because you could be sitting in the reserves, getting game time under our tutelage, playing the way we want to play. So bring him back if he's not going to get game time. It's absolutely useless being out on loan. If he's not.
How's Nuno doing? Is he still talking out there? Is he shut up yet?
She just wanted to just keep quiet, didn't you? I mean, I'm pretty sure he had a good game. Is it Marseille? How'd they play? They got on. How'd they get on? Can't even see. But yeah, I'm sure they did all right this week. But I like Nuno. He needs to keep his head down, play his game, and look, I completely understand his frustrations at not being in the Arsenal team. But this is Arsenal. This ain't Marseille. This isn't Benfica in a team you wasn't getting in either. Let's just remember that, mate. You were sitting in the reserves at Benfica, and you come to Arsenal. So, like, turn it in and just keep your mouth shut and play your game. Marseille have not been on great form recently. Lost to Lyon.
I'll tell you what's not helping him. He's playing next to Kolasinac, isn't he?
Oh, is he? What, a centre back?
Kolasinac is left of a back three, and then Tavares is the full back. Yeah, that ain't good.
Oh. That's some hard back. You wouldn't want to mess with them two, though, would you?
Yeah, but I mean, that defence ain't the strongest with Kolasinac at centre back.
Yeah.
Come on, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. Don't know.
No.
All right. Let's quickly gloss over the PSV game on Thursday. So, Steve, Arsenal got PSV on Thursday. If they get a point in this game, they're into the last 16. They completely miss out the 32. How would you line up this? Okay. Jerome is what I meant. It's what I meant the whole time. When I said
He'll be back in about. Here we go. Is this by magic?
And what I said, how would you line up? It's perfect timing, Steve. Because
brilliant, wasn't
it? How would you line up against PSV, considering this is a game Arsenal need a point from? It's away from home.
Yeah.
They don't win. They do happen to lose it. Then they have to get 3 points against Zurich.
So if we get a point, do we actually win the group?
Yes. Yes.
Right. It's massively important then. So I've heard a few people talking about going out there with resting for the Forest game. Look, no disrespect to Forest, but we shouldn't have. Then again, they beat Liverpool, didn't they? So, but serious we're at the Emirates now. We're Arsenal. We're flying. Apart from we was flying in the first half last week as well, even with a draw. We should beat Forest. So I'm expecting a strong side. I hope he plays a strong side. But in goal for me, it would be it would have to be. Obviously, Matty Turner playing brilliant at the moment. Matty Turner. I'd get Tommy Ashu back in his preferred position, playing right back. Holding comes in next to. I'd play Gabriel again, and as left back. Oh, hold on a minute. This is a bit.
You've done yourself over it.
I haven't. Right. So Cedric comes in as right back.
Here we go.
And then play Ben White and Holding at centre back. Give Saliba and Gabriel rest. I think Holding and Ben White will be okay. Then Tomiyasu. Yeah, it'll have to be Tomiyasu at left back. And then
struggling now,
yeah, I am. Lukonga, Xhaka. Got to give Vieira a game, although he was dogs when he came on the weekend. So we give him a game. Then up front, obviously Eddie. I think we've got to play Saka. And I think we need to play Gabriel Jesus, Jerome. I get there before you. Because I think we need some goals, doesn't he? He needs goals, Gabriel Jesus. So
the other day, did Jesus play up top and then Ketia play on the wing?
Yeah. On the wing, yeah.
How would you start, Jerome? Big changes, big calls here.
Well, whatever it is, I'm going to put a bet on.
I tell you what, I wouldn't bother taking Saka or Martinelli to this game. I would wrap them up in cotton wool and keep them nice and fresh because I wouldn't play them. They're the forward players. They put in, they have the most amount of like sharp sprints, and I would just leave them at home. Other than that, defensively, I'd go strong. I would probably agree with Stephen. I'd probably stick Tomiyasu left back. I'd be tempted to play Ben White at right back and put Holding and Gabriel as centre backs. Then I'd probably stick with the same midfield: Lokonga, Vieira, and Xhaka. And then I'd play Marquinhos, Nelson, and Nketiah.
Oh, I see.
Because even if we lose this game, right? Even if we lose it, we got Zurich at home, and Zurich are horrific. They're terrible. I think PSV beat them 5-0. And I know that's just before the Chelsea game, but if you've got to beat them to qualify,
that's dangerous.
You can do that with your team. So I'm not too worried about that game. But
that PSV crowd is like they're like crazy, aren't they? Flares. They're very good at home as well.
All
yeah,
right.
I'd like a little bit of experience in there, but yeah.
And give us your score prediction, Steve.
Well, with that Fab 3 of Jerome's, if that's what we're going by. No, seriously.
I think
we get a draw. I think it'll be a draw. I'll go 2-2. 2-2 draw.
2-2.
We'll go 2-1 up, and then they'll get one back. Make it 2-2.
And Jerome?
Yeah, I think 1-1.
Jerome going for draw as well.
Yeah.
1-1 for Jerome.
Yeah.
All right. Key players? Steve?
Oh, we're sorry. Key players. I think we're going to be putting under a lot of pressure. So it's very, very, very important that our DM will have to have a fantastic game. So I'm going to put the pressure on Lokonga on this one to have an absolute one of the best games of the season.
All right, Lokonga for Steve. And Jerome?
I will go with Vieira. He got a bit of stick for his little cameo on Sunday, but
I got stick off of Kieran for the mark I give him, so I'm still comparing.
He had one bad game. Admittedly, it was bad. He weren't good. He was just lost. He was lost in that game, yeah. But like, but you go online, yeah, it's crazy. It's like last week or the week before, he scores an absolute goalie, comes on off the bench, plays well, sets up a goal. And then this week, yeah, he had a bad game when he come off the bench. He only played about 5 minutes, and they've written off everything he's done previously. Completely ignored it. Like, who's this geezer? He's too weak. Who's this geezer? Vieira. He needs to strip him of his name. It's like, calm down. The socials is crazy.
I didn't know they was like that on the socials. I mean, he had a bad game, but.
Yeah, the socials are mental. They're not well sometimes. I do worry about them.
They're not well.
They're not. Honestly, man. Like I said, Gabriel, although he made some silly decisions, this season, Gabriel has played very well. Gabriel Magalhaes, he's been exceptional. Yes, Saliba has been brilliant. And because he's new, he's the big new shiny toy, everyone's paying a lot of attention to him. But Gabriel's been excellent. He done that thing against Leeds. Sell him. Get rid of him. He's a liability.
But they even pick on him like the pundits pick on him as well, didn't they? Or Gabriel.
It's crazy. He's excellent. I'm so glad that he signed a new contract. Great news. Excellent news by Arsenal. An excellent move. All right, that is all we have time for. Let me read out a couple of these before we go.
Yeah,
Balogun has more goals than Messi. Yes, I hope they let him finish the season. Some fans feel he needs to come back early. No. Leave him out there. Then what? He's going to come back to sit on the bench? Nah. Get out of it. We have to get a result on Thursday. Can't go with a strong lineup before the Chelsea match. Zurich for the kids, right?
Ooh.
Yes. Win the game on Thursday. Let the kids play in Zurich. You don't need to win that one. It's not that important. I would definitely like to see White at centre back. I think we may have forgot how he plays there. That's true. PSV scored 5 and Zurich twice. But I believe they played starters more than us. Yeah, no, they probably did. And if you look at that PSV team, I think Xavi Simons looked all right. Didn't look too bad. There's an ex-Arsenal player as well, England under 21s. I can't remember his name. I don't know why I want to say Nani, but it's not. Yeah, so he played. It didn't look too bad. So look, PSV have a decent team. They've got some very good players. Ibrahim Sangari, Gakpo didn't have a good game, but I put that down to Tomiyasu. So yeah. I think the player was Nomi Mandiki. I think he was at Arsenal previously. Yeah. And there was rumours that we were trying to buy him back, but they weren't true. All right. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
Yep. Cheers, mate. Thank you.
And thank you for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Pleasure. Cheers. Thanks.
If you are new to the show, press that like and subscribe button. If you are a regular, press that subscribe button and press that share button. You only have to press the copy. You don't even have to share it to your page, all right? And thank you for joining us tonight, DWTT.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
Hot man of the match performance in the comments.
Man of the match. Key player tonight was DWTT. Thank you very much there. All right, have a good evening. Appreciate your support. All right, peace out, people. Make sure you join us for the post-match reaction of the PSV versus the Arsenal game. A vital game. Click subscribe. There we go. Peace out, people. Stay safe and wash your hands.